had a dream last night. When I woke up, I remembered it, but just a moment ago.
Hello?
Hello, is there anyone in to collect the parcel?
Oh yeah, this one?
Yeah, that's the one, thank you.
It's gone, it's gone, it's gone.
Thank you, Tamron. This box is huge. We're not looking at manuals today. This is why you're here. You're here to see the unboxing. You're here to see real life experiences. Oh, it's heavy. It's beautiful too. Just to put this into some perspective, this is my 70 to 200. Oh. This is my 70 to 180, and this is the new 150 to 500 by Tamron, f5 to 6.7. Look at all the dials on it. It's nuts. Right, before we go out and I start talking and speeding, I'm just gonna give you my first thoughts and impressions. 82-inch thread, which you're probably not gonna put filter on anyway, but just so you guys know. Build quality off the get-go. There's a lot more metal in this. Like, it feels cold. This feels plastic. I'm so excited. Still got the same lock feature on the side here, so you lock and unlock here. However, oh, there we go. Good one, Marv. So the protrusion is out here. No, I'm just playing. Yeah, it's a beast. I can tell already. It's got 4 different switches on it, which I'm not used to. With the 70 to 180, I've used the Sony 70 to 200 before, and I know it's got a lot of flick switches and features on the lens itself. But this is right up there with it. It's got a focus length measurer thing. Basically, let's say you're focusing and you wanted to have the full range of focus, then you can set it to full range. But then if you wanted to maybe look out from, I think it's 3 meters to infinity, then you know that it's always going to be within that range. You got autofocus, manual focus, VC. I don't know what VC is or what it stands for. Probably need to read the manual, but let's face it, that's not going to happen. We're going to take it out on the field. I'm going to try it all out before I start giving you spiel, which you can get from anywhere. I really want to have that interactive experience, and I'll let you guys know what's happening as it happens and how I understand things first. It's kind of like when Buzz comes around after Woody's been king. Holy shit, now I see why this is a thing. Because if you were to just leave this on a tripod, yeah, it's gonna kill your camera. Now I understand. This is a beast, gentlemen. This is the R4. This is what it looks like. Holy shit. You versus the guy she told you not to worry about. Nah, to be fair, it's not that bad. Size difference is not actually as bad as it looks. On a serious note, another special thank you to Tamron for sending this out to me. I've got this lens for a couple of weeks now, so I'm gonna be doing the most that I can with it, just to highlight it, show it off, see if it's worthwhile and see if it's worth buying. For me personally, I've never had anything longer than my 70 to 180. So I'm definitely gonna have some fun trying some new super telephoto. That's what you would call it, right? Super telephoto range shots. For the rest of this episode, I will be taking you guys out with the GoPro and going to basketball. I can just sit all the way back and get the tightest of tightest shots. So I'm excited, I'm super excited. If you're intrigued or interested or on the fence about getting this lens, make sure you hit the subscribe button, because this isn't the only video that I'm gonna make over these next 2 weeks. I'm gonna be trialing, hopefully, some wildlife photography. When I say wildlife, I mean the zoo. I'm gonna do some street photography with this, which I'm sure you guys would love to see. And I'm gonna introduce some people that are close to me, allow them to use the lens, and you can get their feedback too, so that it's not just me gloating and saying, oh yeah, this is amazing, and we'll see what they really think about it. So without further ado, let's get into it. This is at the closest focusing distance. And you can see this is a 30 centimeter ruler. That was actually very stupid of me. What I should have done is, just on the top of your camera, you see that circle with a line in it. that's where the actual distance is from. So it's about 60 centimeters. So for a 150, that is relatively close. Before I went out, I just wanted to show you guys my experiences quickly with shooting out the window. Seeing the difference between 180 millimeters and 500 is just astonishing. I'm able to like pick up eye autofocus from my window. It's crazy. I'm not used to that. And this is at 150 millimeter. Let's go all the way into 500. That's 150. That's 500. All right, so later on, I know I'm gonna struggle with light. Yeah, it's gonna happen. When I zoom all the way out to 500, my lowest aperture, excuse these seagulls, please. My lowest aperture is 6.7, which is really high, higher than what I'm used to shooting at. With that being said, that cuts out a load of my light already. On top of that, because of the focal range, my camera does have inbuilt stabilization, however, the lens doesn't. And because it doesn't, it then makes things really hard to try and keep things in focus and still. I was shooting at 1/800th of a second and I was still getting motion. So God knows what I'm gonna do later on when I'm in the sports hall. I'm gonna have to send my ISO to the sky, I'm not gonna lie. Or I'm just gonna have to look for shots where there's a lot more stationary movements and there's not a lot going on, because I don't think I'm gonna catch a lot of action with this lens. So I can confirm that this nicely sits on the Peak Design strap without any problems. Decent result. What's going on? You playing now?
Back first day.
Right, minimum shutter speed of 1000. ISO on auto, f6.7. Some of them. I'm just gonna leave it variable. Let's get the white balancing right. What's going on, people? I thought I'd make a separate voice recording for you guys. Recently got a new Sony dictaphone, so I better put it to good use and upgrade you from that GoPro audio. Right, so let's talk about the pros and cons of this lens in this setting. If I'm honest, off the get-go, I hated it, I'm not gonna lie. For my first time out with this lens, I was under the harshest conditions, some of the harshest conditions that you can probably test it out in. And yeah, I didn't have a good time. So point number one, I'm gonna start off with VC mode because I addressed it earlier, but I didn't really go into it. I did try it out. I did try and understand what it did. However, I couldn't notice anything really. Well, to be fair, I could notice something. What I did notice is I thought I was getting faster bursts. I thought I was getting better frames per second. However, after eventually doing some research, the VC mode is only there for stabilization. Now, based on using this lens, I don't understand why you wouldn't always have it on. Maybe for video, if it creates some sort of changes in warping that you might not want or anything like that, then I can understand taking it off. However, if you are using this, I feel like 99% of the people who are using this are gonna have it on. You're gonna need it on. You're gonna need everything that you can get. So yeah, VC mode wasn't that noticeable, but it's there, and it's a feature that goes towards the lens. As I started off complaining, it's the low light that's killing me. It's the low light. If you are going into situations or surroundings like this where you know that you're not gonna have natural strong or studio daylight, I mean, why would you shoot with this in the studio? I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's definitely an outdoor lens, let's face it. You do need a lot of light. You need a lot of light. So yeah, indoors, under these circumstances, with these somewhat dim lights, they might look bright on the screen, but let's not kid. I'm up in the thousands when it comes to ISOs, and I'm really losing a whole load of data fast. So everything came out soft. Everything that started to affect my sharpness, and I wouldn't necessarily say that this lens is the sharpest. I'd say it's middle of the road when it comes to the shots that I took earlier on in the day. And when you push its limitations at night or in these situations, it just doesn't perform. So I think it'd be unfair to expect it to, especially knowing the F numbers and the shutter speed that I was walking into. So yeah. Final negative point. I consider myself as a bigger than average kind of guy, after an hour and a half, like, you can really feel the weight of this lens. It's heavy. So I would definitely recommend, if you are someone who is quite small, reconsider your options. Reconsider using zooming with your feet rather than within the lens. Don't get me wrong, with the right light, you can get some beautiful shots taken, but if you're ever in situations like this where you're taking sports photography inside of a sports hall, I couldn't recommend it. So those are my three bad points. I kind of predicted a few of them going into this, but let's talk about the good. It shoots like a native Sony, in my opinion. I felt like I had no delay when it came to getting my frames per second. Like I said, I thought that was what VC mode provided, but yeah, no, it does a really good job. Focusing is really quick too. I think the reasons why it might have been jumpy or slow at times is only because of the amount of light let in. When I bear that in mind, I think, yeah, it probably did a really good job. So yeah, focusing speed was really good. Range and the focal distance is something like I've never seen before. You can get a lot of range out of this thing, so it's one of those things where I think you've got to try it to understand the power that it has. And yes, I probably only gave it one shot. If I was in an outdoor setting with more natural light or stronger light, then I might have bonded with this lens better. But based on me being in this surrounding, like I said, I can't recommend it. Anyway, we're on the good. Focal range is really nice. I do like being able to punch in and get in a different style of shot. So let's cut to the chase. My takeaways from buying this lens: if you are in this kind of field of photography, it's a no-go. You're gonna need your 1.4s, you're gonna need 2.8s, just so that you can get the lighting. If you're in a great big sports hall that's got plenty of lighting, then yeah, you're great. I mean, or no, I wouldn't even say great, you're better. If you are consistently taking photos indoors of fast moving subjects, this lens just it won't work. I always wanted to know if it could, and I'm happy that I've answered my own questions with using this lens. So I hope that has transitioned onto you guys, just so you know what it's like. I'm getting a load more grain than what I would usually get, and there's nothing wrong with grain. It's just when you start to lose data and your images start to get soft, I just think that takes away from the essence of a good photo. In my opinion, it just makes it feel really old or cheap. I mean, everyone's got to start somewhere, but it just feels like entry level. You're taking something that's really expensive equipment wise, and just making it look like it was taken on something really cheap. I mean, yeah, hey, that's the best way that I can put it. But don't worry about that. Stay tuned, hit the subscribe button. I will be taking this lens out again to trial it in different circumstances. So this isn't me saying this lens is terrible, but I feel like it was a really good starting place for me to kind of get hit back on it first, rather than me getting a great pleasurable experience and then having a crap one later. So I'm happy that we started off bad. Let's hope for the best in the next upload. If you've got any more questions about this lens, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. Please hit the like button so that I can continue to make more future content just like this, and I'll speak to you on the next one. Peace.